Canada's Ocean Supercluster. It is a thrill to be able to be here today as part of Unlocking Canada's Ocean Economy session, where you will hear more about what Canada is doing in ocean to help tackle some of the biggest challenges while also creating economic opportunity in the process. But before we get to that, I would like to start by saying how absolutely wonderful it is to be in windy Portugal this afternoon. There was a tremendous amount of energy. I was here last week as part of the Global Innovation Summit, where Canada became a full member of Eureka, and it's great to be able to continue with another exciting conference week this week. I would like to extend thanks and congratulations to the organizers of the UN Ocean Conference, the Government of Portugal, and Kenya. I would also like to acknowledge the City of Lisbon and Portuguese Ocean Cluster, who came running from a panel with them earlier this morning, for organizing the One Sustainable Ocean event and for offering this opportunity for Canada to deliver a session as part of it. We are absolutely honored to be able to participate. With the longest coastline in the world, the fourth largest ocean territory, Canada is home to some of the most innovative people on the planet, where government, our research community, our companies, and our investors are all coming together to change the way that ocean business is done. The sustainable development of our ocean is one of the most important opportunities of our time. It is an opportunity that unites us and a space where Canada can play and is playing a key role. Everyone on the stage here with me today is playing a very important role in Canada's ocean story. And the work of the Supercluster is to act as a catalyst for collaboration and accelerated growth in ocean, and help build a new blue economy that is more digital, sustainable, and inclusive. The Ocean Supercluster is part of the Global Innovation Cluster program, and in just over 4 years, we have built a network from the ground up, established a national cluster with over 500 members across ocean sectors and across regions, including international membership and partnership opportunities. With more than 70 projects in flight and more to come, we're helping ocean sectors better understand what's happening in the ocean, decarbonize marine shipping, build more sustainable fishing practices, keep our workers safe, and empower communities to be active participants in our sustainable ocean growth. So I just wrapped up a panel on the less windy side, I think, of the pavilion. And I was with other global blue clusters talking about the opportunities to collaborate, because we know the more that we can work together, the more we are truly able to unlock our full potential. We are seeing incredible momentum and opportunities being built as a result of collaboration. And you will hear today from those that are helping shape many of the ocean opportunities, and I hope you will find them both inspiring and insightful, and maybe spark a few ideas for new collaborations of your own. But before we get to the panelists, it is my great honor to first introduce the Honourable Joyce Murray, Minister of Fisheries, Ocean and the Canadian Coast Guard, and the lead Minister on the development of Canada's Blue Economy Strategy. Please join me in welcoming Minister Murray, a true champion for Canada and our ocean, to provide remarks.
There we go. Is that better? Yeah, I see some smiles. Well, this place is a great opportunity and also a bit of a challenge, I think we're finding, but it's such a beautiful spot to have an event. And Kendra, thank you for the introduction. So good afternoon and welcome. And it's nice to see so many people, so many Canadians as well here in Lisbon for this conference. So I think I was at the opening remarks this morning of the conference. Some of you might have been, and I thought it was absolutely an amazing start to this week. We had the mayor of Lisbon, a mayor who in just a few short minutes brought us the urgency, but also the possibility of now, is what he called it, and he set the tone of optimism about ocean transformation. The president of Portugal said it's the right time, the right place, and we have the right tools to make a difference. So true. President Kenyatta of Kenya says, he reminded us that success depends critically on all of us working together to sustainably produce and protect oceans, and just how important it is to have youth involved and leading this part of history and this set of solutions. And the foreign minister of the Maldives, Minister Shahid, pointed out that the first Oceans Conference was 5 years ago, was a wake-up call. This conference is about direction and inspiration for concrete and demonstrable ocean action built on a strong foundation. And so I'm here to talk about one of those strong foundations, which is Canada's global innovation clusters. And our Canadian innovators also are amazing. So the Ocean Supercluster is driving collaboration and innovation across our blue economy sectors. And Canadian innovators are here in Lisbon to show the world Canada's strengths, talents, and leadership in ocean innovation. And I met a few right out there in the demonstration area. Now, as Kendra mentioned, Canada is a maritime nation. We have 3 oceans. We have the Pacific, the Arctic, and the Atlantic, and our ocean coastline is more than 2.5 times the next length of ocean in any country in the world. So it gives us a unique opportunity and responsibility. And of course, our oceans have a vital role in the livelihoods of so many Canadians, millions of Canadians, in fact. And almost 2% of employment in Canada is tied to our oceans. So they will be, and they are, a source of jobs, of food, transportation, and recreation for countless Canadians and visitors to Canada, I'll mention. They're also the life force of many Indigenous and coastal communities. And I know this is true for maritime nations right around the world. As the UN Secretary General Gutierrez said this morning, the oceans unite and connect us all. And I think we're all going to experience that over this coming week. So we in Canada are developing a blue economy strategy to guide actions on all 3 coasts and across all ocean sectors to leverage Canada's ocean advantage to advance our climate goals, the restoration and protection of critical ocean ecosystems, and to ensure opportunities for communities who depend on the ocean for a living. And so globally, we're innovators and leaders in several areas of ocean innovation and technology, especially in developing engineering products that can withstand harsh ocean environments, marine and remote sensing technologies, autonomous navigation systems and technologies, and ocean observation systems. And the Blue Economy strategy will build on that foundation that is existing. So today you'll be hearing from Canadian innovators in sustainable commercial fishing technologies, artificial intelligence, marine robotics, all kinds of cool stuff. We are renowned also for the quality of research institutions that drive and support ocean innovation. So the session today will allow us to learn from each other, since all technological advances really are based on collaboration, and they do play a critical role in helping our ocean sectors to succeed. So another note from this morning. I love being there for these inspiring opening remarks. Secretary General Gutierrez was building on an old Portuguese saying when he said, "The ocean leads us anywhere. Let it lead us to a more sustainable future for everyone." So I hope you find the discussions today interesting, informative, and inspiring as we work together to protect and conserve our oceans and to grow our ocean economies while addressing climate change in the years to come. So in closing, I want to thank Kendra for the opportunity to be part of your event today, and I want to thank the Portuguese and Kenyan governments and the City of Lisbon, who are our hosts for the UN Oceans Conference, and especially for the Portuguese Ocean Cluster Forum Oceano as the organizers of this One Sustainable Ocean event. So have a great time. Thank you very much.
All right, I'm going to try to do this from a sitting position. You can hear me okay? Perfect. So, Minister Murray, thank you so much for your remarks, and of course for your ongoing leadership in ocean and in leading the Canadian delegation this week. It is now my pleasure to introduce you to the panel, the panelists for today's discussion who have been sitting here waiting very patiently for their turns. I won't spend very long on the intros because I am sure this will be a really rich conversation, but I will briefly try to go down the line. They are not seated in the order I have my notes, so we'll see how this works. So first, I've got Aaron Stevenson of Assured Innovations, and it is a blue tech company focused on sustainable commercial fishing technologies and a leader of one of our Supercluster projects to protect marine mammals and minimize waste and lost gear. Next, Wenwen Pei of Marine Thinking, an artificial intelligence and robotic solutions provider for the marine sector, specializing in smart plant systems for seafood and development of uncrewed surface vessels with functions of self-docking, self-charging, and self-navigation. Then we have Julie Angus of Open Ocean Robotics, a marine robotics company dedicated to protecting ocean using remote uncrewed data collection. Open Ocean Robotics solar-powered uncrewed surface vehicles provide safe, affordable, and sustainable ocean monitoring solutions. Next, we have Afzal Sulman, who I got the chance to meet last week, of Quaternion Aerospace, who offers a full suite of data capabilities in the air, marine, and space domains with a history of providing data to major aircraft manufacturers and to the National Research Council of Canada. And finally, we have Eric Siegel of the Ocean Frontier Institute, a collaborative research initiative harnessing the vast potential of the world's ocean, bringing together researchers and institutes from both sides of the North Atlantic, understanding our changing ocean, and creating safe, sustainable solutions for development. So these are your panelists. So we're going to go through 3 questions. We're going to give everybody a chance to answer. There are 5 of you, and we have 42 minutes, so keep your answers short and punchy. So you have 2 to 3 minutes per answer. I don't think anyone can see the clock, but I can, so if I have to cut you off, I will. So we're going to start with, and we'll start at this end, Aaron, with you. How has Canada contributed to global ocean sector tech development, and what has been fueling Canada's success to date?
I think a lot of the research at the university levels, we're certainly seeing that coming out a lot more, especially over the last 5 years, I think, and coming together in a center of excellence in the superclusters, but just a knowledge community that is being pulled together around the ocean economy. So that has fueled a lot of innovation. We've seen a lot more startups, a lot more products and research projects that are coming out of it, and I think those are, some of the most important pieces, I guess, that have come out.
continuing down the line?
Yeah, sure. Women here. So as Maria just mentioned, we have in Canada, we have the longest coastline in the world, and it's surrounded by 3 oceans. So it's obvious that ocean economy is a huge thing for us, Canada. And I think there is huge need for us to develop. Um, the, the, this huge need is the fuel for us to develop ocean technologies. And speaking of the contributions we made in Canada in this ocean technology field, I can think of 3 innovations. And the first one is, it's not the first ROV or AUV, but it is the first real-time controlled and monitored AUV. The name is ARC, is developed by a Canadian company. ISE, I think that's the name. And this AUV platform has been a successful testing platform for many newer technologies like navigation and newer batteries as well. And secondly, fishing, like a fish tracking monitor system, is also developed by a Canadian company, Vamco, and it is still being widely used all around the world. And third one is the radar set. It's developed by Canadian Space Association. It's deployed actually by NASA in 1995. However, it's owned and controlled by Canada. And other than that, Canada has been a lead in AI and data analysis field for a long time, and it also applied in the ocean technology field.
Yeah, I would just add on to both Aaron and Weiwei's statements in terms of capabilities in Canada. We have leading innovative companies, we have amazing academic institutions, we have government organizations that support, sustainable, innovative technology advancement. We got the longest coastline in the world with very diverse maritime ecosystems. We have a significant need for this kind of technology. And we do a good job of bringing parties together. So when we look at the Ocean Supercluster, when we look at innovation hubs in the maritime ecosystem, Cove on the East Coast, Coast on the West Coast, we bring these together to create something that is greater than the sum of its parts.
Thank you. For just 2 minutes, I just have some notes here. I have to be very, very precise. So in terms of the global ocean tech development, I would say that I am also at the University of Victoria as a Canada Research Chair. And 15 years ago, the Ocean Networks Canada was created to basically create data on the oceans. And there is like these networks that have been created off the coast of Vancouver Island. So that's a major development, that it is essentially the data is available, it's an open data. Anybody in the world can use it, and it is free. So that means that that's one of the, I would say, one of the major contributions from Canada has done in this area. And also we talk about one of the big issues that we have on the from the technological side is the marine noise pollution. So this was like a program created on the west coast of Vancouver Island, because if you have never, we live close to the orcas, and I can say that it's one of the most beautiful sights when you see an orca basically on your backyard. So what the government did, the local government, was to ask the shipping companies and tugboats to basically have sort of a deviation from their original routes, not to affect the orca population. So these are some of the basically sort of tangible solutions that have been put by Canada. On what has fueled success, I'll just say a couple of things. Is the partnership with the coastal indigenous communities, which is very important for Canada, and it is a very unique model that has been created in the world. And we talk about also promoting the community-based ocean monitoring, which is very, very important, because the people have to be involved and have to take responsibility. And that's one of and then the training as a university professor also, I would say that the training of HQP for the new blue economy is a major priority we should put there. Thank you.
So I guess I get the fancy swivel chair because I have to go last and try to say something that's different than everyone else here, which is hard when you've got so many wise people. But as Julie said, not only do we have the longest coastline in the world, but we have a very diverse coastline, which allows us to have to do a lot of things and get experience in a lot of areas. I also have the windy microphone, apparently. And so we have fisheries, we have capture fisheries, we have strong aquaculture, we have the Arctic, which is different than a lot of places in the world and a very important area to try to innovate in. We have offshore oil and gas, and of course we have some very good defense opportunities. So we've been spending a lot of time innovating in all of those areas, which are all related to the blue economy. But I think then we've doubled down on having those natural attributes to really align the innovation and commercialization ecosystem with programs starting at the earliest stages, which would be the Ocean Frontier Institute Seed Fund, to the Ocean Startup Project, to middle stages, which is subsidized by NRC and IRAP and Supercluster, to the scale-up environment at Creative Destruction Lab. So we've gone through that entire thing. We have wind, we have helicopters, and we have smart people. So we'll hand this over to Kendra next.
Awesome. So it's all about opportunities and challenges, including being heard on this panel. So you guys were very efficient in answering that question, so thank you. You can have 3 minutes each to answer the next one and expand a little bit. Otherwise, I'm going to ask you more questions that are not on my script. So one way or the other, we'll see how it goes. So the next question is, what do you see as some of the big emerging ocean tech opportunities in the blue economy? And this time I'm going to start at the other end, Eric, and give you a chance to go first.
I think the main thing is this concept of conservation through innovation. And conservation is important. The word sustainable is up twice in the mission for this entire conference. And so the concept of conservation through innovation, we have some companies here. For example, Julie at Open Ocean Robotics is looking at understanding illegal and unregulated fishing through innovation. Aaron at Assured is allowing fishers to continue to work while conserving whales. And then other people know that my soapbox is climate. And climate is probably the most important thing facing all of us. And if we can't solve climate, nothing else really matters. And so we're looking at solving climate by looking at how the ocean can hold more carbon than any other resource in the world and how that's going to bring us to net zero. And so towards that, it's not only the science aspect of it, but there's this innovation and economic development aspect where companies can develop carbon sequestration technologies to actually pull carbon out of the air, sequester in the ocean, and then there's going to be this entire trickle down of all the service companies, all the innovation that has to go along to support that. If we think about the oil and gas industry from 20 years ago that said we need to move offshore and start drilling below the ocean, you can see what kind of supply chain and economic development that has created. And now we're doing the same thing, but for carbon sequestration in the ocean. And Canada has an opportunity to really lead on that because of where we're located and because of the technology we have. I think we can make Canada the world hub in innovating smart climate technologies and then exporting that to solve climate all around the world.
Okay, so I'll just, I think it was mentioned about this carbon sequestration. I'll talk about something that is more close to heart to me, which is the marine noise pollution. And I think that's one of the major things that I find that every single day we are torturing marine life with this noise in the oceans, and then it's destroying ecosystems across. I look at it more close at home in the Strait of Georgia there. So I would say that there was some experiments done because one of the biggest sources of marine pollution is the cavitation that is created by the propellers. There is a solution. There is a solution for that. There is a technological solution for that, but we have not adopted it in a big scale because it's very expensive. And I think we have to make a decision that is it basically something that is important to us to put all the funding necessary to basically design new propellers, because there was an experiment done by Maersk, which is a shipping company, and they were able to reduce noise by redesigning the propellers, and reduce noise by 75%. And this is compared to the slow shipping time that followed the 9/11 event in the U.S. So the other one is we talk about renewable energies. So when you talk about renewable energies, we basically did an experiment, and we have a patent on a device that harnesses the wave energy. and that was basically looking at the basic columns of water in the ocean. And we did this experiment. We deployed it in the Gulf of Mexico, but unfortunately, the marine environment is very unforgiving. It's extremely difficult to basically have these systems in the ocean because they will not last that long if there are not robust systems that are put in place to basically make it successful. I mean, our system that was put in the Gulf of Mexico, it did not last more than 1 week there, and it was completely destroyed by the waves and by the storms and things like that. Finally, the other thing that I want to talk about is that we also basically work with CubeSats, which is a low-cost technology to monitor the oceans. And I think one of the things that we can do is monitor the color of the oceans, because one of the things that are basically affecting, and it will be a major source of problems for us, and I would say it is our existence that it is at stake here, is that if the oceans are exhibiting major changes in currents and temperatures, and the thermodynamic equilibrium in the oceans is coming to a new reality. So if we need to understand that very quickly. I think I'll stop here. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I guess my soapbox is sustainably understanding our oceans. So I believe that collecting data more affordably, more sustainably, more safely is critical to being able to operate on the oceans, to be able to advance new clean tech industries, to be able to protect our oceans from illegal fishing and other risks. And I think marine robotics offers, a very key opportunity to be able to collect that data. So whether it's uncrewed surface vehicles like we produce, or aerial drones, or underwater vehicles, we're seeing technology advance to make these units more affordable, more persistent, better communication. We're seeing sensors that are smaller, lower powered, able to measure new things. And I think this is going to be transformative as this industry progresses, is ensuring that we're able to understand the ocean across millions of miles from some sea floor to the surface. And I think that's going to really enable us to advance the ocean economy, which is obviously an incredibly fast-growing economy, and ensure that we do it in a sustainable manner.
Thank you, Julie. And I think really anything in the ocean industry field that make this ocean industry more digital, more sustainable, and more inclusive, anything would be great opportunities in developing this ocean technology field. So right now we are in a world that is getting more and more digitalized. A lot of data is surrounding us, and it's actually getting more. And for our ocean, we feel like we are close by the ocean. We love it. However, 80% of the ocean we have never explored. We don't really understand what's happening in that field. And that's something we can use to better observe the ocean. But anyway, so technologies to getting more data from the ocean will be very emerging and will be very much needed in this field. And also, just for this past COVID pandemic, we as companies, and probably as government too, we experienced a great loss of human laborers, and also a lot of retirements from baby boomers. And also nowadays, a lot of young people, they don't like to take jobs from their parents or what their grandparents do, especially for some jobs are more tedious or dangerous, or sometimes it's just boring, and take a lot of labor-intensive jobs. It's hard to find people. Such as like in the ocean field, I would think about like fishermen or divers. It's hard to find new people in this field. So that's another thing that we need to consider when we exploring the ocean, and that's also a reason what we are doing at Marine Thinking. We are developing unmanned service vehicles that can hopefully take some of these kind of difficult tasks and providing a platform that we can collect data from the ocean and being used for everybody all around the world, and using the AI technology to better analyze this data and better use the ocean and make it more sustainable. Thank you.
At Ashore, one of the talking points, or one of the themes that we use throughout, is this idea of ecocentric design or ecocentric innovation. And the whole idea behind it is that no matter what we're developing or what we're doing, we need to do it from a perspective where we're respecting and understanding the ecosystems that we're going to be interacting with. So, you know, as terms of opportunities for industry and that sort of thing, I really think there's application for that type of thinking across all the industries, whether that's transportation, tourism, obviously fisheries where we play, but bringing that view to it, and of course with that comes incorporating the data and understanding of the oceans. You know, one thing that I often will be talking with, especially with younger fishers that are coming into the industry, is and multi-generational, is that the oceans are changing so fast. The climates and climate change and everything else, it's changing so fast that it really doesn't matter how many generations your family has been fishing. Most of that knowledge is becoming obsolete. And so we need to be presenting that information in a way and in a manner, A, that's understandable, but B, is relevant to their fishing, so that they can understand how they need to adjust the work that they do to account for it.
Great, thank you. All right, so next question, I'll start in the middle, Julie, just to change it up, and then we will go to your, okay, perfect, awesome. So you are all Canadian companies that are seizing on the opportunity that the blue economy presents. What else do Canadian companies or Canada more broadly need to be doing to fully seize on these opportunities?
Yeah, I think in order for Canadian companies and the blue tech economy to grow in Canada, there are probably three main things. One is, focusing on sales and revenue, and obviously Canada is not a big country, so we need to, at least economically, compare it to the U.S. or some other economies, we need to look outside of our borders. So we need to, partner with companies in Portugal or elsewhere and look at really expanding our market opportunity. I would say the other one is financing. We need to have access to financing to grow companies, so that can come from different sources. So early stage financing, is often non-dilutive government programs that are able to advance the technology to a stage where it has traction and it can attract either customers or external investors. And then of course, venture capital and that kind of dilutive funding. So making Canadian companies attractive on an international scale, so that we can have that funding to accelerate our development. And then I would say the third thing is talent. So being able to attract talent to Canada. Of course, now the ecosystem has changed and we're able to work virtually, so finding ways to use that hybrid model as well, and growing talent too. And I think growing talent can mean a number of different things, and I think one of the things we do really well in Canada is we have some really outstanding accelerator programs that help develop people to build their own entrepreneurial skills. So whether it's working at the very early stage with researchers at a company, or working with entrepreneurs as they're growing their company. So whether you look at some of the accelerators like Foresight in Western Canada, or Mars Discovery District in Toronto, or Creative Destruction Labs all across the country, I think these are really important programs that give people the skills to build innovative companies.
Okay, so I'll just add another three to to Julie's list. Essentially, obviously funding and is an important. But I think I will outline three initiatives that are important. The first one is that we need to adopt as industry, adopt and develop transformative technologies for the fourth industrial revolution. We are talking about artificial intelligence, we're talking about machine learning, robotics, Internet of Things, biotechnology, advanced materials, and these are all important basically to basically integrate these technologies so that we can have sustainability in this process. The next one, and I think is more important, since we are here at the UN meeting, is that we need clear guidelines and metrics. And these clear guidelines and metrics are basically, so that when we look at the nexus of unprecedented environmental change and rapid technology innovation, I would say the Canadian industry needs a very clear and unified UN and governmental guidelines, so that, and metrics. As an engineer, I look at metrics always. So what are the metrics that we need to achieve? And we have to define that. We have been doing monitoring for quite a long time. We get a lot of data, but what are we doing with this data? The question is that, are we monitoring more of the monitoring and then keep monitoring all the time? And there is no time for that. I would say that we have really at a time that it is critical that we have an action and basically hold governments around the world accountable for any pollution that is happening in our oceans. And also we need to figure out ways to mitigate what we call the effect of the brown technology, the brown economy, which is fossil-based economy that needs to be basically reduced. Provide regenerative processes to restore the fine equilibrium between the physical life and social sciences in the oceans. And the last one is basically broader systems of systems approach to these solutions. An example is that the Earth's oceans and the atmosphere are not necessarily decoupled. We need to figure out the interaction and the dynamics that happens between the Earth and the oceans and understand what is the physics behind it. Because I can just give you an example, is that in British Columbia, in Vancouver, in Victoria, in the same year, last year, in the summer, we had the hottest day on record that destroyed the town of Lytton completely. It was completely obliterated with fires. And in the same year, in November, we had what we call the biblical flooding. That, I mean, I've never seen flooding in 40 years in Canada. I've never seen flooding of this magnitude with atmospheric rivers. So we're talking about atmospheric rivers are a combination of the dynamics that exist between the oceans and the atmosphere, and we need better models to understand it so that we can understand better the ocean and we can engage. And at the end of the day is essentially an idea of how do we engage with the ocean so that we better understand it, we better control it, and we better use it to the best, to our ability, so that it's a benefit to everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, so as you've heard from many people here, Canada really has world-class researchers, world-class innovators, as you hear here, and world-class programs to try to help scale that up. What we don't have is world-class ambitions to create and own high-value companies or have world-class investors into these areas. So for example, Julie at Open Ocean is building a $1 billion company. But probably the best advice for her would be move that company to San Francisco, which would be the worst thing for Canada to do. But companies in San Francisco that are doing similar things are getting millions, hundreds of $millions of investment for $1 billion valuations. Spin-offs out of Woods Hole have been getting hundreds of $millions of investment for $1 billion valuations. But we don't have those kinds of aspirations necessarily, or the investors. There are billions of dollars going into ocean sustainability in other parts of the world, but Canada has zero ocean investment fund from a commercial perspective. So those are some ways, as Julie mentioned, as other people mentioned, to really supersize the quality and talent and value that we have here for Canada to fully realize it.
My turn. Yeah, I think Julie, you steal my notes, right? What Julie said is almost exactly what I want to say. So three points, and the first one will be networking and collaboration. It's super important. And actually, we were talking about the field for the ocean technology field, but for a startup, for a company like us, really the field for us right now is the collaboration, a willing partner that on the table and helping us up with any issues we are facing. That has been a great help and is the fuel and the motivation for us to develop at this stage. And and I know Ocean Supercluster has spent a lot of effort on building this kind of collaborations as well. We didn't really get a chance to get in yet, but I know the opportunities are there and the ecosystems are there, and hopefully we'll get there and get benefit from it eventually. And that's the first thing. And the second thing will be the financial supports, either from the venture capital, from all around the world, or sometimes it could be from the government departments, from the international collaborations, or from the clusters. So it's kind of obvious. It's crucial for every business, and especially for startups like us. And thirdly, but very important, will be the support from government for the policies. Because we are developing emerging technologies, sometimes the traditional policies or rules may not be applicable to us. So we need to find a way to make it work, and we need government to be flexible with us. And from our own perspective, we will be lucky, really. So we got a scientific fishing license from DFO, Department of Ocean and Fisheries, to test our ROVs to fish lobsters and sea urchins. And also, as you all know, I just mentioned, we were developing MS service vehicles. We also got the license from Transport Canada to operate these vehicles. So I think with all these three, the collaboration and financial and policy supports, and with a strong willing of succeed, we all can get there and contribute more to the sustainable ocean technology.
They didn't leave me much left to say. I second all those. I will build on something that Eric said, though. One thing, having been here for the Eureka Summit this past week and here again this week, it's blatantly clear that startups that have an ambition to be global have to be global right from the get-go. You have to be where these ideas are being discussed, and know where your developments can fit into the broader picture, the global picture. So that's a huge, I think, a huge element of it. And then the other, well, yeah, I guess everybody else. There's not much more that needs to be said. That was well done. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. So we have a few more minutes, so I'm going to go off script, and so you guys can decide who wants to answer. I won't force all of you to answer, but just pulling on that thread a little bit, Aaron, we are in Portugal. We heard last week at the Eureka conference the importance of international collaboration. So are you collaborating globally as your business? Would you like to be collaborating globally, and what would it take to encourage or support you to collaborate globally if that's of interest?
We can go up and down the line or just jump in.
It is up to you. I'm not going to force you all to answer because it's a surprise question, but anyone can start.
I'll jump in. Yes, the quick answer is yes. Since we founded the company, our ambition has been to be a global company right from inception, because the problems that we address are of a global scale, and see that opportunity. And for us, where we're working, collaboration makes sense. It allows us to roll out what we're working on at a much faster rate, and also build in other pieces that fit into the broader vision. And I guess the other piece that I would say too is on the collaboration side of it, there also needs to be the collaboration not just at the business or the startup level. It also needs to be within the political arenas as well. That to understand, on the one part, where policy is being directed, or where the flow is going, but also so that um, the leaders of our different nations and different sectors within our governments and stuff understand what technologies are coming available, so that they can then understand what where it can be applied and where they can make inroads.
Yeah, and I'm happy to add on to that. I think definitely, we want to be a global company. Our USVs can be deployed on oceans around the world and controlled from our control platform in Victoria, BC. And for us, it's very important to understand what those global needs are and who the leading players are in the robotic space. And, like Aaron, I've been here for the previous week as well, the Eureka conference, as part of the Canadian delegation, where we had the opportunity to visit, institutions in Port, the university there, SEA, visit EMSA here, attend the Eureka conference, and it's become clear that, there are tremendous resources in robotic ocean observation here in Portugal, and we would certainly like to explore ways to work with those leading academic institutions. If you sat on the stage a couple presentations ago, you heard about ARC and the, robotic testing site that they're developing here on the Atlantic, and for us, that's something that we don't have in Canada, so be able to access it on an international scale is certainly something that's really valuable.
I'll just add that. So I think I'm a little bit at an advantage here because I am both Portuguese and Canadian, so this is my home as well. So for the past 30 years, I have been collaborating here in Portugal with the University of Lisbon and with SEA as well in Porto. So SEA is a relatively new institution. And one thing that I have found is that this collaboration with Portugal is that I'm able to tap into the best students that, the intake requirement for aerospace engineering in Portugal is higher than medicine. So you can see that how good these students are. And I usually, every year, I take about 10 of them to Victoria to do their master's thesis there. And the collaboration has been, this is an academic level, at the industry level, a collaboration with Embraer. And I think one thing that I found out through this trip was that there is a synergy between Air Center in Azores and the Ocean Networks Canada. And there is a lot of duplication that is happening between these two institutions. So I would say that it's a time that they can basically align it, so they can basically maximize their resources. Thank you.
I can just add the last thing. It's so important for these companies to go out and talk to their customers, and that means the international customers, and they're doing that through programs like last week in the delegations. But also, what we're doing well in Canada is bringing international folks into Canada, and that's a very effective way also to do collaboration. It's also less expensive for us because people come here, and Canada's been doing a pretty good job in terms of the promotion and attracting international companies. We had 40 or 50 that came to Nova Scotia a couple weeks ago. I know they come to the West Coast, and the entire Pacific ecosystem is different than Atlantic, but to continue to build that is very valuable for all the companies within Canada to get that local experience overseas.
Yeah, and I can add some too. So as I mentioned, collaboration is super important for us to develop into a bigger organization. And this collaboration could be just between local companies. It could also between different countries, right? The more we collaborate, the more success we will achieve. And this is the reason why we are here, right? We were here for the Eureka mission last week. That's also why we were actually in Germany for another mission too, to build up collaborations between the two countries. And it's very, very useful and helpful. And NRC, National Research Council, has did tremendous work on this, building up collaborations. And so far, we did see quite a few interesting companies that we may potentially collaborate. And one thing you asked, and I want to say, what can improve the collaboration would be the process of proposal writing stuff. So if we can make the collaboration more easy and like, you know what I mean? Like, don't write too long proposals. It would be great. So it would be great and make all the instructions easy to read. And I know you can do it. Thank you very much for the help. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so we're getting down to our last few minutes. There's 2 more questions I want to ask, so you've got kind of 45 seconds to answer each of them. And the one is around talent. So, you know, to grow the ocean economy, we need talent. We talked about on the previous panel I was on the fact that, you know, if you're not a marine scientist, you don't necessarily think about a career in oceans. So what is your company doing, or what do you think we should be doing to be able to attract more talent to the ocean economy? And again, open to whoever wants to jump in.
I'll just start, which is we have lots of ocean scientists in Canada, but not all ocean scientists, in fact, only a very small amount would ever think about going into industry. Everyone thinks that if you go and do your research degree in ocean science, you're going to talk to dolphins, perhaps. But what we're trying to do is change the mindset and help them understand that you can have very rewarding careers, challenge your brain. This is not just about counting money when you move into industry. You can develop technical things and you can make a big impact. So in terms of the ocean scientists, try to help them understand that you can have a career in the ocean industry, which is important. But then I think outside of just ocean scientists, working with people, with students in engineering and with computer science and in finance, say you don't need to go and work at Twitter or Facebook. You can have a larger impact on the world and still do your engineering, your coding, and your finance working in the blue economy.
So I'll just add to Eric. I think in the training of HQP, the most important thing that we need to do now is to train them in the interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary aspects of research, because the ocean environment has got not only engineering but science as well. I'll give you an example. Is that we just developed a CubeSat that's going to be launched by SpaceX in October, but that was a collaboration between a physics professor who has been basically looking at atmospheric aberration for calibration of ground-based telescopes, and we put that payload into a CubeSat, and it is being delivered to the Canadian Space Agency this week, and for launch by SpaceX in October. So this is like multidisciplinary. Students were involved with that. They got exposure to both science and engineering.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, definitely attracting talent to the sector is really important. I think increasing diversity and inclusion is also very important in this sector. So I think there's a number of things that we're doing and that can be done. I think one is, presenting the opportunities in the ocean tech sector. As has been said, this is a very impactful career to go into. You can truly make a difference and change the world for the better. So conveying that, and also conveying the range of jobs in ocean tech. Like when I look at our company, we have engineering, software, electrical, mechanical, we have project management, we have ocean sciences. It is there's media relations, it's a very diverse field. So I think part of it is how we project all the opportunities and reaching out to people at different stages in their career. So reaching out to youth, having co-op programs so that people from different fields can get exposure to the ocean tech, and then just really growing this talent pool in a diverse and inclusive way.
Yeah, that's good to learn. Because we are AI and robotic solution provider for the marine sector, so really AI talents and robotic talents are what we are really urgently need. And I really have tried so many ways to reaching out to reaching out all kinds of talents, and we are very inclusive. Probably you can tell from myself. But we are still need a lot of talents. So if you are in this field, if you are interested, please come to us, and we can help you to find a way to immigrate to Canada.
Yeah. Because one of the things that has worked for us, you're right. We need people in every field and in every discipline in it. But being able to offer that sense of mission behind their employment, so that they know that the work that they're doing is contributing to something more than themselves. That is probably one of the biggest things that we see in new graduates as well, that attracts them to this field. And then the other part is being out in the classrooms and out in the where the graduates are gathering, so they can see that there are other opportunities in the blue economy for their skills and a need for their skills.
Awesome. So we have actually got to time. I was going to ask you what gives you hope for the future, but listening to that answer on talent, that certainly gives me hope for the future. So with that, I just want to thank Minister Murray and our panelists for participating in this very windy event and sticking with us. It was a great discussion. Hopefully you found it as well, highlighting Canada's leadership in sustainable ocean solutions that are globally relevant, but also recognizing that we are scratching the surface in terms of what is possible when we work together. Thank you again to the organizers of the conference, the governments of Portugal and Kenya, the organizers of this event, the City of Lisbon, and the Portuguese Ocean Cluster Oceano. It is an honor to be a part of these important discussions this week. And finally, thank you to you, our audience, for sticking with us. And if you want to learn more, please don't hesitate to reach out to anyone that is on this stage. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you.
Thank you.